Hi, Don Catalano here from iOptimize Realty. I want to do a perspective wrap up first on 2022, and then later we're going to talk about our predictions for 2023. I think most people will agree 2022 will go down in the history books as sucking. It really did. unless you were an industrial landlord, then you were like rock on baby, because industrial vacancy, zoop, industrial rents up. And why is that? Of course, because we all want to use our fingers to do the shopping. We shop at Amazon or anybody that wants to have a hope and a prayer to compete with them. And we want to get our products that day, next day, maybe 2 days, but we want to get our stuff brought right to our door, and that's understandable. We are all time compressed. So that has just absorbed all the industrial real estate there is, so they can get the proverbial last mile, whether that's Amazon or their competitors. So 2022 was great for industrial. It was not so good for office landlords or office tenants. Coming out of COVID, companies are still trying to figure out, gee, am I going to be able to bring my workforce back? Or will I lose them? And a lot of people moved. They just picked up stakes and said, I've had enough. I'm not working in the big cold CBD like New York, Chicago, maybe some of the ones in New England, and holy cow, I can't use the word on YouTube, but you know the word I was thinking of. Begins with an S. California, baby. Oh my God. San Francisco, as my man Bruce has been reporting, unbelievably, San Francisco went from a 4% vacancy rate to 32% vacancy rate. It goes down in the history books. Now, why is that? Well, there's a lot of factors. There's been a lot of shifts in, frankly, policing. And do we still have the rule of law in a lot of these cities? Now, I'm not trying to be political. I'm just being an honest, unbiased reporter. It's a fact. In many big cities, New York, San Francisco, just to name a few, Chicago, crime rates have skyrocketed. And what happens when crime rates skyrocket? Well, the retailers say, gee, we are feeling so much pain. We're losing so much to shoplifting. It's like a criminal Wild West out there. Actually, it's worse than the Wild West, and I'll get into that in a second. So we're going to close down stores. On top of that, with office occupancy. Now, I was just about to say vacancy, but there's really two different things. We always used to think of vacancy rates, and we just assumed that if the tenant had a lease, the tenant was occupying. But what is new in 2022? Well, we have a new thing for our CRE lexicon. Occupancy, which is different than vacancy. Vacancy is how much of that building the landlord has leased on paper. But the reality of the situation is, whether the space is leased or not, is it occupied? And in many of the big cities, it went, of course, in 2021 and beginning of 2022, the vacancy rate with COVID went down to sometimes, well, I shouldn't say the vacancy rate, the occupancy rate went up to 80% negative, 80%. Now it's kind of stabilizing a little bit, but we're going to get into this into 2023 and our predictions for that. In many of the CBDs, there's currently, believe it or not, still 50% vacancy. 50%, there I go, occupancy. The vacancy may not be that much. It may be 15%, 20%, which is still a high number. But the literal people occupying space is only 50%. So this is 2022, be gone. I can't think of too many people other than like I said, the industrial landlords who will say, wow, this was a great year for me. Of course, the stock market tanked like we've never seen in recent memory. Bellwether companies, Apple, Meta, Tesla, you name it, down 70%. I can't believe it. So where does that leave us for 2023? Stand by, we're gonna get into that in a second.